And keep in mind that the types of images supported by the system are the ones you see here. These are the types you can use. But if there are other types, the system won't support them, like JPEG, which is the most common, and also JPEG and PNG. And of course, GIF is one of the most popular types that we deal with. Let's take a look. Yes, I can edit the image here. Then we come to this edge and say no frame. And then we'll click send so that the image is now without a frame. All right, let's go back and look at. Look, doctor, the alignment of the content you're talking about, I'll tell you about it. We take the image and go back to editing. I usually don't talk about content alignment. Why is that? You'll notice down here. And this is present in all elements, tools, images, and all content in general because it's related to the content. The part which is adding compatibility date is specific to the content. Any content that you add, you must find this option. The system here made this option. No, we made it. Why not? Because there is something called goals. Any content, you are of course more experienced than me. There are objectives for the content. It must achieve them. So we must create these objectives in a certain way. We create the objectives in a certain way here in the course, right? And then we have to come here and tell him we have to come here. But this is in the case when we have created the objectives. These objectives, they exist with permissions in the system model in a different context. If we set objectives and say add alignment, it aligns with our objectives. There's a specific way to create these objectives. If you or the department needs to check content alignment, that's a different matter needing other arrangements. You'll notice tracking the number of views. It applies to any link or content. For example, I uploaded a file like this one as the first unit file. I didn't bring you into that because you wouldn't benefit from it, so I'm not discussing it initially. But if you or the department really needs to see if the content aligns with the objectives, that's a different issue and it requires other arrangements. Let's not get into that. And you'll also notice something called tracking the number of views. Tracking the number of views applies to any link or content. For example, I just uploaded a file like this one, and I want to say it's the first unit file. This file, the student is supposed to open the first unit file and read the incoming file regularly, right? So now I want to know how to track the number of views. What does that mean? It means how many times this file has been viewed. Let's not get into that so I don't confuse you. And you'll also notice something called tracking the number of views. Tracking the number of views applies to any link, especially with links or content in general. For example, I just uploaded a file like this one, and I want to say it's the first unit file, just to make sure in any case, for instance, as an example, in particular, specifically, especially in general, for example, like this one, and I want to say it's the first unit file. The student is supposed to open the first unit file and read the incoming file regularly in a consistent manner, right? So now I want to know how to monitor the number of views. What does that mean? It means how many times this file has been viewed. Keep in mind, everyone, so how does it calculate that? I also want to explain this to you, so it might be useful for you in some cases. It calculates it by the number of clicks. It doesn't just tell you in the report that a certain student, for example, has a number of clicks, the total clicks, 100 clicks, 50 clicks, 200 clicks. So you'll know that this file has been viewed approximately 200 times in total. But how do you know it's exactly 200 times? It just gives you this description, as you can see in the description provided. But where's the code for that, doctor? Sorry. Where's the code for that in the folder, doctor? Let's look at the mistake. Oh, okay. So, are you doing well today? I hope everything is going smoothly for you. Right now, I have in front of me a document, and this document is actually a Word file. You might be wondering what kind of file it is, And to clarify, it is indeed a Word file, which is a type of document used for writing and editing text. This format is widely used for creating various types of documents, including reports, letters, and more. It's quite versatile and commonly used in many professional and personal settings. This tool is specifically designed for students, with special needs. It's for students with what? Special needs. So, for a student who, may not see or hear well, when I put a file here, this tool allows the student to also download the same file as an audio file. What kind of file? It gives me something called alternative formats. Alternative formats mean that if I come now, we will see it together. We'll see together when you all click on the word alternative formats. It will show you this layout. It says, well, your file is originally a Word file, and it is indeed a Word file. So it gives me alternative formats. I want it in PDF format, okay. And of course, I want it in HTML format. I want it in a format called EPUB, which is an ebook that can be used on the iPad. Of course, students with special needs have special programs and specific tools that they can use. I want it as an audio file. I want an audio file. I want something called Beeline Reader, and this is enlarged for reading the letters and looks nice on the screen. You need something called a comprehensive reader. What do you need? What do you need from these options? The student chooses the option they want, and then here they do something called, or whatever helps them. Then they choose something called download. So the file will be downloaded in the desired format, and the student can start working with the audio file, the HTML file, or whatever it is. This is regarding the part, you see, which is the alternative formats tool. You all should try it out, okay? Because when we added the tool, if there are any issues, I hope you all try out this tool and explain it to the students. If there are any problems, let us know in technical support or in the administration so we can improve it. It doesn't have to have issues. You can also suggest new ideas, new suggestions, so we can communicate with the producing company and enhance the tool. All right. Okay. After that, we also have something called content creation. For example, we have audio. Here, I will click on audio to add an audio file. So I can create an audio file. So I will come here and say, well, this is an audio file. And then I will browse for files. Then I will come here and look for the audio file. Keep in mind that the system supports audio files with certain extensions, such as the most common of which is the MP3 format. All right. We will take an audio file like this one and simply say open. Okay. Now I have the name of the file just like that. And I have the file type. If I want to change the file, I click on select a different file and there's no problem at all. Okay. Now keep in mind something about the options here. Do you want autoplay? Autoplay means the audio starts immediately when the page opens. No, I want the student to press play. Do you want repeat? It means the file repeats automatically. No, the student should decide to play or stop. Adding compatibility for content is unnecessary. What is embedding a copy? It allows adding an audio file and providing a Word or PDF for students who can't hear. This way, they can read the content. So, I can browse. No, we want the student to be the one who decides whether to play the file or stop it. There's no problem with that. All right, adding compatibility for the content, we can quickly go over that. We don't need it, but there's also something called embedding a copy. What does embedding a copy mean? It means I can add an audio file. But for students who can't hear and can see, I can browse and put the content that was in the audio file in the form of a Word file or a PDF file, for example. This way, the student who can't hear can read and see with their own eyes. That's why there can be a written copy for those who cannot hear the audio. So I can go from here and say browse. And I come here and, for example, this is the Word file. This Word file is supposed to have the same content as the audio file, so it serves as an alternative as well. I would say, Quran, you will die, and I come, for example, to the verse, open. So I now have the audio file and I have its alternative or the version as a file that the student can read for the student who can't hear. So whether I want to listen or I want to see, there's no problem. Then I would say send so you can see what the file will look like, how the audio file appears. As you can see, the play button is there, and I also have the written version that we just talked about, which is the Word file, and the student can also download it. Or they can download the audio file to their device so they can play it on their device without the internet. There's no problem at all. And of course, you will notice that the audio file looks like this. This is the icon. As soon as I see this icon, I know that this is an audio file. That's regarding this part.